Since the early 2010s, rap superstars Drake and Future seem to be the most dynamic duo in the industry, seemingly never failing to make a hit song when collaborating. From their first track, the 2011 Tony Montana remix, to their timeless collab album What a Time to Be Alive, all the way up to their latest collaboration, Wait For You, which landed Future his first #1 solo hit on the Billboard Hot 100. Despite the pair's lengthy history of success, something shifted in the great year of 2022, where the inseparable duo may have hit a turning point of no return. So what happened? Let's dive into how it all went wrong between Drake and Future. Drake and Future's synergy was undeniable. What a Time to Be Alive, released in 2015, was a game changer for both of them, further cementing their status as one of hip-hop's greatest power pairs. Their chemistry was electric, and it wasn't just the music, it was the culture. They were pushing boundaries, setting trends, and releasing bangers back-to-back. No pun intended. Every track felt like an event, from electric trap bangers like Jumpman to the slow, deep cuts of Plastic Bag and Change Location. It seemed as though nothing could come between two of rap's biggest hitmakers.
They weren't just making hits together, they were dominating the charts, and their collaborations were shaping the sound of modern hip-hop. In 2022, their partnership seemed strong as ever with their joint track, Wait For You, which not only gave Future his first solo #1 hit, but also solidified their ongoing impact in the game. Drake further proved his alliance with Future by not only featuring on one, but two songs on Future's 2022 album, I Never Liked You. But by August 2022, something peculiar was brewing. Drake dropped his Deep House-themed album, Honestly Nevermind, and the video for Sticky featured none other than Future. On the surface, this was just another moment in their string of successful collaborations. Future was a key player in the visual, showing that things were still good between them. But the signs weren't all positive. While the Sticky video made headlines for its cool visuals, some fans and insiders began to notice the subtle cracks in the relationship. It wasn't until later in the year that things really started to unravel. In September of 2022, Drake dropped another bombshell with the announcement of his collab album Her Loss with 21 Savage. The album was highly anticipated and was Drake's first collab album since What a Time to Be Alive. But what really got people talking wasn't just the music, it was the rumors surrounding it. Rapper Nori, known for his podcast Drink Champs, hinted that there was tension between Drake and Future. According to Nori, the rift between them had something to do with the long-rumored What a Time to Be Alive sequel album. But where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Since its release, fans had been clamoring for a sequel to their iconic joint project, What a Time to Be Alive. The hype was real, and both Drake and Future had teased it in their social media posts and interviews. But when What a Time to Be Alive 2 never materialized, fans started to wonder, was this just a marketing move? Or was there something deeper behind the delay? According to Nori, Future and Drake's falling out could be tied to the lack of closure on this project, adding more fuel to the fire of their brewing tension. But that wasn't all. The situation was complicated even further by the presence of 21 Savage, another prominent Atlanta rapper. With Her Loss being released as a joint album between Drake and 21, fans started to speculate that 21's rise to prominence might have played a role in the rift. Was Future feeling sidelined, or was he simply not in the picture anymore as Drake's focus shifted? Fast forward to December 2022, when Metro Boomin dropped his album Heroes and Villains. This was a huge moment for hip-hop, with anticipation building for features from the biggest stars in the game. Fans were surprised to find out after its release that Metro had actually left Drake off the album, where he would have been featured on the song Trance alongside Travis Scott and Young Thug. This was a huge deal. Drake had recorded a verse for the album, but it was cut. Why did this happen? What could have caused Metro Boomin to remove what would have been the most memorable and anticipated feature from the album? In an interview after the album dropped, Metro nonchalantly played off his disillusion of Drake by explaining that although Drake wanted to be on the song, the verse just didn't fit the track, which had been fully produced at the time of Drake's recording. That's when the whispers started. Was it a personal issue between Drake, Metro, and possibly Future? Could their falling out be the reason why Drake's verse was cut? Or was there something deeper going on behind the scenes that led to this decision? By the time Her Loss dropped, it was clear that Drake and Future weren't collaborating as much anymore. The rumors about Future being upset over What a Time to Be Alive 2 falling through, and Drake's increasing focus on 21 Savage made the relationship seem even more fractured. Future, once a key player in Drake's career, seemed to be increasingly sidelined, leading to even more speculation about what went wrong. In 2023, Metro Boomin added fuel to the fire with his cryptic Tweet and Delete series. As Drake's Her Loss continued to win awards and make headlines, Metro seemed upset that his own album, Heroes and Villains, wasn't getting the recognition it deserved. He posted and then deleted a series of tweets that appeared to express frustration at Her Loss overshadowing Heroes and Villains in terms of accolades. For Metro, who had poured his heart into Heroes and Villains, the constant focus on Drake's project must have felt like a slap in the face. This only served to further complicate the dynamic between Metro and Drake, especially when it came to the ongoing tension between them. Was Metro upset with how things were being handled, Or was there more going on behind the scenes? Then there's the infamous rumor about a woman who might have been involved with either Future or Metro, only for Drake to allegedly step over the line. DJ Academics, a well-known figure in the hip-hop community, explained that while Future and Metro are known for being with multiple women, there are certain exceptions, women that are considered off-limits. According to rumors, Drake allegedly disrespected these unwritten rules and slept with someone who was off-limits, to Metro or Future, perhaps conceiving the tension between them. By mid-2023, things were reaching a breaking point. Both Metro Boomin and Drake had started throwing subliminal shots at each other online, making it clear that their issues weren't just behind closed doors. They were now playing it out in public. The tension continued to grow, and it wasn't long before Drake dropped For All the Dogs, an album that was loaded with hidden jabs aimed at various figures in the industry, including Pusha T, Rihanna, and her husband A$AP Rocky. But the most interesting aspect of this album wasn't just the shots, it was the mysterious track, What Would Pluto Do? For those who don't know, Pluto is Future's nickname, and fans quickly began to analyze the track for any clues, as the song with Future's known moniker in it surprisingly didn't feature the Atlanta rapper. Some saw it as a subtle nod to Future's well-known promiscuous and misogynistic lifestyle, but given the context of everything that had happened between Drake and Future, many fans began to wonder, was this really a shout-out to Future, or was it a subliminal jab, aimed at mocking or challenging his reputation? The tension surrounding the album took a personal turn when rumors began swirling about the woman that Drake had allegedly slept with. Rumors that had been circulating for months. Fans and Instagram users began piecing together the story, with many believing that the woman in question was a stripper who worked at Atlanta's infamous Booby Trap Club, a spot frequented by both Drake and Future. Was this the woman who had come between the two men? Or was it just another layer of drama to an already complicated relationship? While no one could confirm the details, the speculation only fueled the fire. If Drake did sleep with a woman who was close to Future, or even one of Future's off-limits women, as the rumor suggested, could this be the final straw? Did the track What Would Pluto Do serve as both a tribute and a subtle insult to Future's lifestyle, or was it just another example of Drake being Drake? If this rumor is true, it could explain why Metro and Future seemed to distance themselves from Drake in late 2022 and throughout 2023. Whether or not the situation with the female involved was the main cause of the fallout, it's clear that personal boundaries and respect played a big role in unraveling their friendship. One thing was for certain, 2023 had become a year of mixed signals and hidden meanings between Drake and Metro, and no one could quite figure out where they stood. Just when it seemed like the drama surrounding the woman in question was about to reach a boiling point, a surprising twist emerged. The stripper, who many fans had speculated was the cause of the rift, came forward to clarify the situation. She denied being involved with any of the men, Drake, Future, or Metro, putting an end to all the rampant rumors that had fueled the tension between the three. But even with that cleared up, the underlying animosity remained, and the public spectacle continued to evolve. Let it not be forgotten that, previously on For All the Dogs, Drake and J. Cole teamed up for the song First Person Shooter. The track became the #1 single off the album, but what was most important was the line that J. Cole had in his verse, representing and calling out the Big Three, which for years fans have proclaimed was J. Cole, Drake, and none other than Kendrick Lamar. What this did was lay a foundation for something that no one involved in any of this had ever imagined possible. As 2023 continued, Metro Boomin began to map out his next move like a military general, strategic and calculated. After teasing snippets of his new album all year, he unleashed his masterstroke, aligning with industry giants who had been on the receiving end of Drake's brash and cocky shots. A$AP Rocky, The Weeknd, and importantly, Kendrick Lamar, Future, and even Rick Ross. These were the key players who had either clashed with or been overshadowed by Drake. Metro wasn't just upset, he was assembling a force. The ultimate act of defiance came with the release of Metro's 2 albums, We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You. These albums, released within a month of one another, laid bare Metro's feelings towards his longtime collaborator, Drake. On these records, Metro aligned with those who had been odds with Drake, and his strategy was clear. He was no longer playing nice. By the time Metro Boomin's albums were released, the tension between him and Drake had reached its peak. Metro had done more than just release music. He had carefully aligned himself with other artists who shared his frustrations and amplified his feelings towards Drake. The fallout from this would have lasting effects on the relationships between some of hip-hop's biggest stars. As Metro continued to rise, his alliances signaled a major shift in the power dynamics of the industry. Drake, who had once been known as untouchable, was now facing a growing collective of artists who were no longer willing to stay quiet. This wasn't just about one rapper versus another. It was about the changing of the guard, and Metro Boomin had strategically positioned himself at the center of it all, ensuring that the future of hip-hop would look very different from the past. The drama between Drake, Future, Metro Boomin, and all the players involved shows just how volatile the rap game can be. What started as a few subtle tensions grew into a full-blown industry-wide shift, with each move made by Metro calculated to send a message. He wasn't just making music, he was rewriting the narrative. In the end, it's not just about who dropped the hottest album. It's about who controlled the narrative and who could outlast the others in a battle for supremacy. So on March 24th, 2024, Metro Boomin and Future released their long-awaited collab album, We Don't Trust You. From the very first track, listeners knew exactly what the album was about. Future opened up with a line about another male rapper who once seemed to be his biggest fan, yet the recent pillow talking from the individual left Future questioning their loyalty. It was clear this wasn't just about music. It was a direct message to someone close to him. The album itself is steeped in tension, with voiceovers from the late Prodigy, a rapper known for his skepticism in mainstream figures, an allegorical lifestyle that Drake embodies. Prodigy's voice can be heard throughout the album, complaining about corny rappers and the industry's obsession with fame, a clear shot at Drake's persona. Prodigy's influence on the project emphasized the deep-rooted frustrations with the industry's biggest players, adding even more weight to the album's themes of distrust and betrayal. But the real highlight of the album comes on the track Like That. Here, Metro and Future drop a bombshell, a hidden Kendrick Lamar verse. And this wasn't just a verse, it was a direct hit at Drake. Kendrick, who had a long-held distaste for Drake, and vice versa, now turned that long-brewing tension into an open confrontation. The verse was an unmissable shot, leaving no room for ambiguity. For years, Kendrick and Drake had exchanged subliminal shots, but this was a moment of real rap rivalry, one that shifted the focus away from Future and Metro's beef with Drake and squarely onto Drake and Kendrick. Kendrick's verse sparked a chain reaction, one that took the spotlight off of Drake's issues with Metro and Future and threw it right into the tension between the two rap giants. The moment marked a new chapter in their ongoing rivalry, a rivalry that at the time felt like it would never have a true resolution. But for now, it was all about Kendrick, and the questions came surrounding his beef with Drake because they knew it would be the new talking point of the industry. After a moment of back and forths, in May 2024, as the beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar continued to heat up, Drake released Family Matters, a lengthy track that not only addressed Kendrick, but also took aim at every artist who aligned with Metro's Avengers team. Among his targets was A$AP Rocky, with Drake taking some sharp jabs at him before moving on to a more personal confrontation. One of the most striking moments came when Drake rapped about his fractured relationship with Future. He spits,
Pluto shit made me sick to my stomach, we ain't never really been through it. Lil Wayne, he a fucking lame, so I know he had to be an influence. These niggas had a plan and they finally found a way to rope you into it.
Pluto, of course, is Future's nickname. And in this line, Drake opens up about the deep hurt from the fallout with Future. The reference to Leland Wayne is a nod to Metro Boomin's real government name, which suggests that Drake feels Metro may have played a role in the betrayal, manipulating Future into turning against him. As Drake and Kendrick Lamar's beef intensified, Kendrick Lamar's track, Not Like Us, in the summer of 2024, delivered a final blow, solidifying the divide between the two. Kendrick's verse not only put Drake on notice, but also shifted the narrative, taking the spotlight off of the rift between Future and Drake and pushing it squarely onto Drake versus Kendrick. The public seemed to forget about the tension between Future, Drake, and Metro, as Drake was forced to focus on his ongoing feud with Lamar. Despite the chaos, Drake and Future remained eerily silent about their issues following the Family Matters track. Neither artist commented publicly on their fractured relationship, and it became clear that their silence spoke volumes. By late 2024, it was obvious that their bond had shattered, and there was no sign of a reconciliation in sight. In the fall of 2024, Metro Boomin and Future sat down for an interview with GQ magazine, and while the conversation about the past year was in full swing, both downplayed the severity of their beef with Drake. It was almost as if the drama between them had been swept under the rug, with Metro and Future downplaying it as just another bump in the ever-evolving industry of rap. Following what many fans deemed the Great Rap War of 2024, an incarcerated young thug even tried to mend the soured relationships of his fellow collaborators and closest industry allies through a post on X, hoping to bring the three men back together again. Even fellow Atlanta rapper 21 Savage, who has strong unbreakable ties to Metro and Drake, even addressed his feelings on an Instagram Live, claiming that Metro and Drake are both grown men and will hopefully one day work out their differences. As of 2025, Drake, Future, and Metro Boomin have yet to repair their relationships. The tension that once seemed like a passing issue has now become a prolonged Cold War, with no clear resolution in sight. Fans are left wondering if the three superstars will ever reconcile, or if the damage is too deep to mend.